Have you ever heard someone walking in a place that is supposed to be completely empty? Not just one time, not a random noise, but footsteps every night above your head, even when you know no one lives there. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about an apartment in a small American city where the upstairs neighbor did not exist. This is not a ghost story I read online. This is told exactly as it happened by the person who lived through it. So, turn off the lights, put your headphones on, and welcome to Ghastorium. Main story. My name is Daniel. In 2019, I moved to a small city called Everett in the state of Washington in the United States. It wasn't a big, famous place, just a quiet city where people went to work, came home, watched TV, and tried to live a normal life. I wasn't looking for anything special, just a cheap apartment close to my job, nothing more. The building I found was old, but not the kind of old you see in horror movies. No broken windows, no creepy vines, just tired. Like it had seen too many winters and too many tenants. The landlord, Mr. Harris, was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He showed me apartment 203 on the second floor. The first thing I noticed when I walked in was how quiet it was. Too quiet. No traffic noise, no TV from neighbors, no kids running in the hallway. Just this heavy, uncomfortable silence, like the walls were waiting for something. But the rent was cheap and I was broke. So, of course, I took it. Moving in. I moved in on a Saturday. My friend Jake helped me carry in my boxes. While we were bringing up the last box, Jake stopped in the hallway and looked up. "Someone lives above you?" he asked. I frowned. Above me was apartment 303. The light outside 303's door was off. The number plate was cracked, and a strip of old tape was stuck over the keyhole like nobody had used it in a long time. "I don't think so," I said. "Why?" Jake shrugged. "Thought I heard something, like someone walking up there." We stood there for a second, listening. Silence. Jake laughed it off. "Maybe I'm just tired, bro. Let's get pizza." We did. We ate. He left. And that night, the noises started. First night. Footsteps. It was around 1:30 a.m. I was lying in bed, scrolling through my phone with the lights off, trying to fall asleep. The building was dead quiet. No traffic, no voices, no music. Then I heard it. Step. A single heavy footstep above me. I froze. The ceiling creaked softly, like weight settling onto old wood. Then, step. 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 Slow. Deliberate, like someone was walking from one end of the room to the other, directly over my bed. I stared at the ceiling. For a second, I told myself, okay, maybe someone does live in 303, maybe I just didn't notice. But as I lay there, listening, something felt wrong. The steps were too slow, too spaced out, like whoever it was dragging their feet. After about a minute, they stopped.
Silence returned. I exhaled slowly and forced a laugh. "It's an old building," I whispered to myself. "Wood creaks, that's all." I tried to sleep, but deep down, I knew what I heard weren't normal creaks. They were footsteps. The pattern. The next night, it happened again. Around the same time, past 1 a.m., I was half asleep when I heard it. Step, step, step. This time, it started in what would be the whole way above me, then moved into the area above my living room, then above my bedroom. Step, step, step. It was like someone was pacing, thinking, deciding. I lay there, completely still, my eyes wide open in the dark. What is he doing up there? Why is he walking around so late? The third night, it got worse. Not just footsteps now. It sounded like something heavy being dragged across the floor. Scratch. Like furniture or something heavier. The sound moved slowly across the ceiling, right above where I sat on the couch. I paused the show I was watching and just listened. Scratch. 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 Every hair on my arm stood up. I didn't know why it scared me so much. People move furniture, people walk, people live. But there was something in the rhythm of the sound, something that didn't feel casual. It felt intentional, like whatever was causing the noise knew I was listening. The landlord. The next day, I decided to ask Mr. Harris. He was in the small office near the entrance, going through some papers when I walked in. "Hey, Mr. Harris," I started, trying to sound casual. "I just wanted to ask, does someone live in 303, the apartment above mine?" He looked up, confused. 303? He repeated. He thought for a second, then he shook his head. "No, 303 is empty. Has been for about 3 years now." A chill ran through me. "Are you sure?" I pressed, "because I keep hearing footsteps." He cut in. He said it like he already knew. I swallowed. "Yeah, and something dragging maybe? Around 1 or 2 in the morning?" His eyes dropped to his paperwork again. "That's just the building settling," he said quickly. "Old pipes, wood, you know how it is." His tone changed. He was shutting the conversation down. I stood there for a moment. Something inside me said, he's lying. Or at least he's not telling you everything. "Right," I said slowly. "Old building stuff. Got it." But as I walked back to my apartment, one thought kept repeating. If 303 is empty, who's walking around up there every night? The call from my sister. That evening, I got a call from my younger sister, Emily. We don't talk very often, but she always had this weird intuition about things. "You sound off," she said. I laughed. "I moved into a haunted building, that's all." "Don't joke like that," she replied quickly. Her voice tensed up. "What happened?" So I told her. The footsteps, the dragging sounds, the landlord saying the apartment above me was empty. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You should record it." "What?" "Next time you hear it, record the sound. If it's just the building, fine. But if it's clear footsteps, I want to hear." It sounded stupid at first, like something from a ghost hunting show. But that night, when 1:17 a.m. rolled around and I heard the first step, I grabbed my phone. I opened a voice recorder app and I pressed record. I lay in bed, holding the phone close but trying not to move or breathe too loudly. Above me, step. My heart pounded. Step.
Step. The sound moved slowly across the ceiling. I watched the little timer on the recording app climb. 004, 009, 0016. Then came the dragging sound. Scrag. My chest tightened. It went on for nearly a full minute. Then, silence. I let it record a little longer, just in case. The next morning, I sent the audio file to Emily with a text. "Tell me it's just pipes." She didn't reply for a few hours. When she finally did, it wasn't a text. It was a call. I answered. "Hey." "Daniel," she interrupted, her voice low. "That's not pipes." I tried to laugh, but it came out weak. "I know. It sounds like someone walking slowly in boots or something, and that dragging." She trailed off. The hairs on my neck stood up. "Did you hear it clearly?" I asked. "Yes," she said, "and there's something else." A cold weight dropped into my stomach. "What?" She hesitated. "Right before the dragging starts," her voice dropped even lower, "I swear I hear something else in the background. Just for a second, like a soft whisper." I felt lightheaded. I hadn't heard any whisper. Not with my own ears, not in the moment. "I'm sending it to my friend who works with audio," she said. "He can clean it up, boost it. Maybe we can hear it better." Suddenly, I didn't want that. I don't know if that's a good idea." "Too late," she replied. "I already sent it." The enhanced audio. The next night, around 10 p.m., she called again. I answered immediately. "What did he say?" She exhaled shakily. "He thought it was a prank at first, but when he boosted the sound, Daniel, there is definitely a whisper under the footsteps." I felt my skin go cold. "What does it say?" I asked, barely able to get the words out. There was a long pause on the line. I asked. "When the dragging starts," she said, slowly, "your friend's voice sounds distant in the recording, like you sat the phone down or moved it away from your mouth, right?" "Yeah," I said. "I put it on the mattress beside me. I didn't move." "Okay," she continued. "When you put it down, there's this tiny gap, 2 seconds of almost silence just before the dragging begins." I was gripping the phone so hard my fingers hurt. "In that tiny gap," she whispered, "there's a voice, very low, very slow, and it says, 'He's awake.'" The room spun for a second. My mouth went dry. "I didn't say that, Em," I whispered. "I know what I said. I didn't say anything at that moment." "I know," she replied quietly, "because I asked him, 'Are you sure that wasn't my brother?' And he said, 'No, that voice is not him, and it doesn't sound like it's near the phone. It sounds like it's above him.'" Above me, in apartment 303, the empty apartment. The ceiling. That night, I couldn't bring myself to sleep in the bedroom. I pulled my mattress into the living room and tried to sleep there, farther away from the ceiling that connected to 303. Around 2 a.m., my eyes finally started to close. Then, step. Right above the living room. I squeezed my eyes shut.
Step. Step. They were heavier now, more confident, more present. "Stop," I whispered to myself. "It's just an old building. It's nothing. It's nothing." Then the dragging started again. Scrag. But this time, it didn't move across the room. It moved toward me. Scrape. 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 The sound drew closer to the area directly above where I lay. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Scrape. It stopped, directly over me. I stared at the ceiling, every muscle locked. For a moment, there was nothing. Then I heard it. Not footsteps, not dragging, something else. A faint, brittle sound, like nails, tapping the floor above me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then tap, 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 tap. Faster, harder, like someone was scraping their fingernails desperately across the floor, trying to claw through it. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. All I could do was stare straight up at the ceiling. And then everything stopped. Silence. I don't know how long I lay there awake. I think I never actually slept. The door to 303. The next morning, I'd had enough. I marched up the stairs to the 3rd floor. The hallway felt colder, older, as if nobody had walked there in years. I stopped in front of 303. The door looked wrong. The paint around the frame was chipped, like someone had slammed it over and over again. That strip of old tape was still over the keyhole. But now that I was up close, I could see something else. Thin scratch marks on the wood, right around the doorknob, like nails. I reached out and put my hand on the doorknob. It was ice cold. For a second, I wanted to turn it, to open the door, to see what was inside. But something deep in my chest screamed, "Don't." It didn't feel like curiosity anymore. It felt like the building itself was baiting me. I pulled my hand back. When I turned around, Mr. Harris was standing at the end of the hallway. I jumped. "I told you that apartment is empty," he said quietly. I swallowed. "I keep hearing things. It's not normal. Something is up there." His face tightened. "You signed a 1-year lease. If you want to break it, you can. I won't fight you. But I'm not opening that door." The way he said it, I knew that he believed me, and I knew he was afraid of 303 too.
Moving out. I didn't last the year. 2 weeks later, I found a different place, farther from work, but closer to sleep. On my last night, I stayed up late, sitting on the floor between packed boxes. I kept glancing at the ceiling. It was quiet. No footsteps, no dragging, no tapping. For the first time since I moved in, the silence felt normal, almost peaceful. At around 2:30 a.m., I finally laid down to rest for a few hours before the movers arrived. As my eyes started to close, something told me to look up. I did. And for the first time, I noticed something I had never seen before. A small, faint, brownish stain on the ceiling, right above where my bed used to be. It wasn't big, wasn't obvious, just a discolored patch in the shape of... My brain took a second to process it. Fingers. 5 long, thin smears, like something with a wet hand had pressed against the floor above and slowly dragged its fingers along the boards. My chest went tight. That's when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Emily. I unlocked it. It was a screenshot, a text from her audio friend. It said, Tell your brother to never record in that place again. I checked the file one more time. After the voice says he's awake, there's another whisper at the very end right before he stops recording. This time it's clearer, a different voice. It sounds like a woman, and she says, "Don't leave." I stared at the message, my heart hammering. In that moment, the air in the apartment felt heavy, thick, like someone was standing right behind me, watching, waiting, wanting. I didn't sleep that night. I waited for the sun to rise. The movers came. We loaded everything. When I closed the door to 203 for the last time, I didn't look up. I couldn't. But as I walked down the hallway for the last time, past the door to 303, I heard it. Soft, barely there, but I heard it. A single, slow step from the empty apartment above. And if you're ever up in a new place and you hear footsteps in the empty room above you, don't just tell yourself it's the building. Don't just ignore the sounds, because some places don't want you to leave. They're not lonely, they're hungry. And sometimes they're already awake before you even move in. This was Ghastorium. Welcome to the House of Horror. Sleep if you can.